How's it going, guys? I'm sitting here with Viljoen, who is the game director on the much anticipated Project Cars. Steven, thank you so much for joining us today. Making some time for us. Okay, I want to jump straight into Project Cars. At first glance, the name it makes sense, Project Cars, but people don't actually know that the cars stands for something very special. That is Community Assisted Racing Simulator. Why don't you tell us about how the community got involved in making this game a reality?
Well, when we started off with Project Cars, the concept that our CEO came up with was that we wanted to create a sim that the people out there want. Because all the games we've done previously was done in the typical format where you would make the whole game, go through the whole development cycle, and then once the game is released, you only then get feedback and input from the guys. And then, often it's like, well, this is not really where we wanted to be with the game.
Yeah, why didn't you add this?
Exactly. Yeah. So with Project Cars, involving the community right from day one, it was really awesome because this gave us a huge amount of guys that was involved, and actually as soon as we started getting builds out there, which was very quickly, the guys could immediately start giving feedback, give input on the design, and of course start marketing the game.
Yes, exactly.
So it has helped so much to get the name out there, and this is one of the reasons also why we stuck with the name, where originally it was just like, the concept name for the game. Was by the time that we started thinking maybe we should give the game some other name, like the world knew Project Cars already. And it already had a bit of a nice ring to it, and became a household name almost. So we stuck with Project Cars, and the community has been awesome. It's been so great to have them involved, and so many bits that would typically be a problem during a regular development cycle. When we would do this aspect, and you're like, we need to tune this, we need to balance this. Some aspects of game development just take a lot of testing and tweaking to it, tweaking testing, and having the community available to do that was invaluable. So the game would not ever have been anywhere near what it is today if it wasn't for
the community. And a big community, I think 80,000 almost got involved.
Yeah,
so it wasn't just a couple
to be fair, some of them weren't active all throughout. Some became active later on in the project, some were active in the beginning and then sort of like drilled away, real life and get in the way.
But not only did the community get involved, I heard a lot of pro racing drivers actually got involved. Which famous names stepped in to assist you?
Yeah, we had a number of guys that were officially involved, and then we had a whole bunch of guys that, professional race drivers that we didn't even know. We would just like pick up over time on the forum, there's this guy who's playing our game, because he would post a YouTube video or something, or he would mention the game at a real world race, and we'd like, this guy's actually involved, he's one of the community members. That was the interesting thing with having such a large community, is you had guys from all walks of life, and like I said, a lot of them were actually, or many of them were guys who either do track days or they are professional or semi-professional race drivers. Exactly. But then we had a few guys officially on board that were helping us on a daily basis with balancing the physics of the cars, trying them out, and trying to get the game to be as close as possible to the real thing, because motorsport is a very expensive sport. It's unlike a game like tennis or golf. If you want to practice, you can just take your clubs and go off to to a golf course or tennis court and practice. In motor racing, you can't do that. It's a hugely expensive effort to get out there and go and book the track for a day and get your car out. Imagine living in London and wanting to go practice on Spa. It's
you need the long dollar.
Unless you're like Shumi or one of those guys, and it's just not happening. So we wanted, as part of our aim with Project Cars, was to be able to deliver something to these guys as well, that they would consider good enough that they can use it to practice when they cannot get to the track. So we involved a number of good professional race drivers. We had Ben Collins, of course, is probably the one that
he used to be the stick on Top Gear, didn't he?
Yes, he was the stick, and amazing guy, and gave us so much feedback. When Ian, our CEO, contacted him originally to get involved, his response was, well, you must have the wrong guy, because I think sims are rubbish. And Ian said to him, this is the sort of honesty we need. That is why we want you involved, so that you can help us develop this game to be the simulator that we want it to be. And for the first while, Ben was just dissing the game. He was completely honest with him. It just sucks. This is not anywhere near what it feels like. And we would work head hard and give him another build, and he was just like, nope, sorry guys.
Not impressed yet.
And he was absolutely brutally honest about it, and it's exactly what we wanted. And then we got to a point where the group of physics guys working on the tire modeling and stuff made a breakthrough, and he was just like, okay, I think something is happening.
Yeah.
Something is happening.
Yeah.
And by the time we wrapped it all up, he was just like, this is now, I can use this.
Yeah. I want to talk about, obviously, you know, there's other games on the consoles like Forza, Gran Turismo, and like you said, the amount of detail you guys have really put into it really does, you start to see why there is a difference between Project Cars and those games. But if you had to sum it up, and you know, what is the major difference that you think Project Cars has over, you know, a game like?
Well, I think the major difference on the console aspect that we did not have before in any of these other is that we are approaching the racing gamers on the consoles as adults.
Yeah.
We are not like treating them like they don't know how to deal with having options, having choices, having the ability to decide where they want to race, having the ability to master a proper simulation, to understand how tire physics work. A lot of these guys are guys who drive cars in real life.
Yeah.
You know, for Pete's sake, they know how to do this.
Yes. Exactly.
So there's no need to deny them that on just because, you know, we're having this mentality of the console players.
Yeah.
And of course, so we've had the advantage of having these level of simulators on the PC before.
Yeah.
But for the consoles, this is something completely new.
Brand
Giving
new.
somebody a whole race weekend where they can actually do it like they would in real life, with the level of simulation and the physics and the tire model, and of course in the whole environment.
Yes.
That is just something.
Something you just don't see on the other races.
Yeah, because with the other racing games, and I enjoy most of them.
Yeah.
And I've been following most of them since the beginning of their franchises. Some of them are extremely good in certain aspects.
Yeah.
But then other areas they just like meh.
Yeah.
So you have like a really nice feel for like this car in this condition, but the rest of the simulation is, because the simulation is so much more than just the car itself. Because there's the whole environment. They're simulating the track, simulating that, simulating rules and regulations, for example, in a motorsport, so that you have an authentic experience. The thing I was speaking about with the authenticity goes across the whole thing. Authenticity as in audio, for example, that it sounds like the real thing, and that sound changes depending on which camera view you're using.
Yes.
To have that, if you're using the helmet view, that it would have that muffled sound, like the real thing.
Yes,
it's authentic, and it's we just feel that there is no need to, you know, keep this sort of stuff away from console players and treat them as if they can't handle it.
It's our time, We've waited long enough.
Exactly.
It's our time.
Yeah, so you know, hopefully we're setting a new standard here.
I think you are.
And I really hope that the other big guys, the big franchises, you know, pursue this as well and see that by, you know, Project Cars being successful enough that this works, that it's something that the guys want.
I think they're gonna love it. I think, like you said, there's definitely a gap, and I guess we'll find out very soon. But speaking about the detail, like you said, it's more than just you know, the wheels on the track. Weather effects, I know there's a day-night cycle. I know obviously if it rains, the track's going to be slippery and stuff like that. But have you gone to the point where, say, you know, hot versus cold, and how, you know, the actual tires react on like a hot surface?
Absolutely. In fact, I remember when we got to the point in the development cycle where that was implemented and it first started working. I realized it was working because I was testing out a road car. It was the Audi R8, the road model, and it still has the road car HUD display.
You must have got to drive some amazing cars.
And part of it has like a temperature readout. So I was driving along and I noticed the car starts. I'm testing out some track there, and I noticed the car is starting to feel different. Something is on. I'm losing seconds here, and it started become cloudy. I had set it on to have like changeable weather conditions, so it started becoming cloudy and all that. But I was like, it's not raining or anything. And I looked and I saw that the temperature had dropped, and the digital display in the car was showing that it had dropped from like 18 degrees to it was like at 16 and going down to 15 degrees. And I could feel the difference it was making in the car. And then you know, so I adapted, and then a little while later the sun came out again and the clouds went away, and I saw the temperature in the car go, and I just stopped and I went like, that is so cool.
That's something you have to put in.
Exactly, and it's a sort of detail that we don't necessarily talk about much, but you discover that. The more you play the game, the more depth you discover that is there, that only comes with that level of authenticity.
Crazy, hey?
Good stuff.
Jeez, wow.
And of course the temperature varies as well around the world. And as the atmospheric temperature varies, the track temperature varies, and it affects the grip. But yeah, so you have temperature ranges depending on where in the world the track is.
Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty much as realistic as it's going to get opposed to getting in the actual car and going around the track.
I think so. For this generation, every new generation of hardware, we're able to put more in because we have more CPU cycles available to us, and we can push harder in the simulation level. But I think at this point in time, what we have here is
pushing boundaries.
Is pushing boundaries, definitely.
Well, now speaking
right on the edge there.
Yeah, I know. It looks like it's right on the edge. I don't see how you guys can improve on it visually. Now, speaking of visuals, the PC version. Obviously, it's got a bit more horsepower. You guys can crank it up a bit. What sort of maybe unique graphical features might we expect in the PC version?
Well, in the PC version, you have the options. The one thing that on the consoles that is standardized is because you have a single target platform. Is you can optimize it to run at its best on that platform with the visual settings at a certain level. On the PC, we open it up and say,
go wild.
If you want to run the game on a 3 monitor setup at 120 frames per second, you're welcome to go tweak the details down. If you want to run it, if you have a beefy enough PC and you want to run it in 4K with everything at absolutely the maximum settings, you can go do that, and you can set everything to ultra, for example. You can change the amount of cars you have on the track. You can do all of that sort of stuff. And then of course we also support new technology that's appearing, Oculus Rift.
Oculus,
we already have the initial support in for the Oculus.
So it's for like head tracking and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's full virtual reality support, and it's pretty awesome when you're sitting with the headset on and you're like in the car, and then it gives you also an appreciation for the detail that's in the cockpit.
And in the cabins,
exactly. Inside the cockpit, everything is in detailed 3D model, so you can lean in and see all the little details. You can look towards the mirror. That makes the interface natural. Because when you're playing with just a screen in front of you, it's like you're looking into another world through a window.
Yes, exactly.
And it's not natural to peek to the sides and look at the glance of the mirror and stuff. You're just doing that, so you're not really situationally aware of what's happening around you. Where with the Oculus Rift, it's really awesome. And we're also starting to work on implementation for the other options like like Valve's Vive, and of course Project Morpheus for the PS4. So we're very excited about that, and that's all stuff that is so like I said, on the PS4 as well, but primarily on the PC is where we're forging ahead with the support for this new technologies.
The VR stuff. It's the next level in gaming. I think VR technology is just going to blow minds and eventually does hit the market.
So on the PC, obviously, because as you upgrade and you get better hardware, whatever, you can just make it look better and better and better, and it just keeps on going.
It's crazy.
We support up to a resolution of 12K, so you can have, for example, 3 4K monitors set up there. You're going to need a reasonably beefy PC.
The PC will need to be very strong to run.
The old Pentium D is not going to cut it anymore.
Not going to cut it anymore. But very cool. So visually, PC it's got the edge for now. Let's talk about the other versions. Obviously, it's coming out on PS4, Xbox One, PC. Is the Wii U version still happening? Is it still on the way in?
We're at this point in time not releasing any details because of what happened with the previous, having to delay because of so at this point in time we're not talking about when and all that, but at this point in time it's not off the table.
Because it's still happening. It's just the timeline hasn't been decided, but it's still happening. Okay, but if that changes, then we'll announce it. But at this point in time, we've not announced that it's not changed. Okay, so it's still happening, guys. Cool. And now, obviously, VR, like you mentioned, for the head tracking is going to be, in terms of immersion, that's a big deal. Steering wheels. What steering wheels should we go out and buy? What do you feel works best with the game?
Well, we've obviously tried to get high quality support for all the major. So, for example, with Logitech, with Thrustmaster, with Fanatec, we've worked very closely with these guys, and we've pushed to try to get the most out of their wheels, all the wheels in their ranges. For example, Thrustmaster was at the event last night. We've been working with them
Fantastic
for years.
Wheel,
Great wheels. They are cross-platform compatible, which is great. So if you, for example, play on PC and Xbox, then you don't have to swap wheels. You can use the same wheel on different games, which is great. Fanatec wheels are outstandingly good. I personally tend to use the Fanatec at home. They're very high-end wheels, so they're quite expensive. But between that and the top-range Thrustmaster ones, I'm like,
you pretty much
as happy as a bee.
You're gonna win either way with one of those there.
Exactly. And then of course there's the Logitech wheels, which are really good, and you know, they're also looking at expanding their range again in the future. So we'll be supporting that as well. And it can be really, really immersive when you're,
especially got the whole wheel, the seat, the bucket seats going
exactly,
as well. So yeah, okay. If you can get the wheel, and you know, it's a match made in heaven. So make it happen. I know the game's out today, so you guys better go get a copy right now. But what one snippet of detail might we not know yet about the game? I know you've given away a lot, but what's the one thing people might not know?
Yeah, they know it's awesome. They know it looks.
They know it looks pretty. They know
it's on all the platforms.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see.
One little secret.
We're doing a Commodore 64 version.
Oh, is it? Seriously? For real?
How awesome is that?
That is so cool. When's that coming out?
I don't know. I think the plan currently is for 2017.
Okay.
On April the 1st, yeah.
Jeez. So you have a date, really?
There you go.
Okay, well, there's some waiting to do, but it's going to be worth the wait. So we'll see. Stephen, thank you so much. This has been an amazing interview and a privilege, and I'm looking forward to actually getting the game and getting some good track time.
Thank you so
much. Guys, you should be ready to do the same. And yeah, Project Cars is out today. Enjoy, and we'll see you on the track. See you.
Go get it.
Go get it. Cheers,